everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with my 2018 reading stats, and I have honed these a lot for 2019, so bear with me through this one, but I'm really excited about sharing this stuff with you. Let's jump into it. For 2018, it was the first year that I decided to start a spreadsheet with the help of Amber from Amber's Books and More. She helped me organize a little bit of a spreadsheet here for like collecting data and collecting some stats. I don't use one that's pre-made by anybody else, so I can go in and customize and change things around. It doesn't give me pretty graphs, it just gives me basic statistics, and I'm going to look at them with you today. So what I have is my Goodyear's end of the year information, as well as an Excel spreadsheet with all of my stats from the year. So we're going to go over kind of everything. We're going to just talk numbers. I don't have pretty pictures for you. I apologize, but hopefully you're interested. 2018 was a really good reading year for me. 2017, I think I read in the 230 range for books. I specifically set a goal for 2018 to read less, and I did, which is good. So I read 178 books in the year of 2018. It has me on Goodreads at 56,785 pages, or 178 books. Pretty sure I have 168 books on my other spreadsheet, 54,173 pages. I don't think I counted rereads on this spreadsheet. I think that's why. There's a little bit of a difference in numbers here, and I tried to go through and figure out why, but at the end of the day, I'm not filing this for tax purposes, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. My shortest book was Fence, Volume 1, and I actually read that, I think, in ebook form from Hoopla. On Goodreads, I had to mark them as single issues because they were single issues from Hoopla, but on my spreadsheet, I marked it as just one. I just put Fence, like Volume 1 through 7, I think I read, and I just marked it once on the one spreadsheet. Anyway, what are you going to do? So that was the shortest at 24 pages because it was a single issue from Hoopla. My longest one being Beginnings, Obsidian and Onyx by Jennifer L. Armentrout at 801 pages. My average length for the books, according to Goodreads, was 319 pages. I think that's going to be different on my spreadsheet. My most popular book that I read this year was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and my least popular was The Revelations of August Barton. And then my average rating per Goodreads was 3.7. My first review of the year went to The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, and I believe that's because Outlander was a DNF. I read that first, and then I read The Heart of Betrayal second, and I finished it, so I was able to read it. And I gave that 4 stars. And then it goes through all the books I read. And again, yeah, it was Outlander, The Heart of Betrayal, Black Lies by Alessandra Torre, and then The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. I eventually got there. And then The Cruel Prince. Let's see what else. I read Emma Mills for the first time in 2018, Brandy Colbert's Little and Lion. I read Simon vs. Homo Sapiens Agenda in 2018, a little bit late. This Adventure Ends. Oh, and Starry Eyes, and I reread We Were Liars. Ooh, these were good books. I read House of Leaves, which was an adventure. I read Furyborn. I reread The Born Sinner, and then I read the rest of that series. I finished the Remnant Chronicles series. I read The Wicked Deep. Oh gosh, yes. Legendary, Spellbook of the Lost and Found, so good. Bad Romance, I buddy read with you guys, and then The Serpent King, reread that. I got an Arc of Mirage, I read that. I read Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares this year, or in 2018 rather. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, How to Make a Wish, which was amazing. Open Earth, which I read after BookCon because I got that as an arc there, as well as Saul Kill Girls, which I got as an arc there. Kiss Quotient, First and Then, man, that's a lot of Emma Mills. I reread The Strange and Beautiful Stars of Ava Lavender. I read The Wicked King. I read Strange Grace, The Anatomical Shape of a Heart, Jen Bennett for the Win. I read The King of Bourbon Street, which was so good. Justin Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, which I really, really loved. I know not everybody did. The First Time She Drowned, which was a traveling book I was able to finally get to. I got to Rule, which was a big letdown. In an Absent Dream, I got an arc of and really, really loved. Summer of Salt, which you guys know I really enjoyed. I DNF'd The Captive Prince. I read Nevernight and God's Grave. Loved Nevernight, did not like God's Grave as much. I read Girls of Paper and Fire. I read A Heart and a Body in the World. Ooh, Timekeeper. Timekeeper I enjoyed so much. That was a good one. Young Jane Young and Elle Defo and The Female of the Species and Radio Silence and Alex Approximately. More Jen Bennett, man. Rolling in the Deep and then Into the Drowning Deep and then The Lost Sisters. And then I read Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee and Vicious and Vengeful and Strange Grace. Again, The Prince and the Dressmaker. I'm just picking and choosing like my faves. Everything All at Once, more Katrina Leno, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, The Reader, Famous in a Small Town. Oh, Emma Mills. I read 4 Emma Mills books in 2018. That's crazy. And then An Enchantment of Ravens and The Bear and the Nightingale. The Bear and the Nightingale was the last book that I read in 2018. Crazy. So I started with Outlander. I end it with Bear and the Nightingale. All right, so that is everything for Goodreads. I'm going to go to my personal spreadsheet and go by like month by month. So January, I read the fewest books. I read 6 books. And I DNF'd one of them. I DNF'd Outlander at 284 pages, which is what I put that in as. I don't think it was more than 801 anyway, but I DNF'd at 284, so I only counted 284 pages in that book. December, I read 21 books, largely in thanks to Smutathon, so 21 books was my best, 6 books was my lowest. This one says that my average pages was 322, which is about right for me. I read 8 books during the first Contemporary-a-thon at 2,261 pages. I read 7 tomes in 2018, which is good. Technically, Outlander would have been a tome, but I only counted it at 287 pages, so that would have been 8 tomes. Attempted, 7 read. Wait, what? 4 tomes in March. House of Leaves, Heart of Betrayal, Children of Blood and Bone, and Obsidio. And then I actually read 2 tomes this month, and I only counted 1, so I read 8 tomes. See, this is what happens when you manually add and you don't have algorithms. So I actually read 8 tomes and I had 9 attempted. What I tracked for the year of 2018 was the title, how many stars, the genre, the age, so new adult, adult, middle grade, whatever, whether it was a debut author, new to me author, or a known author, whether I kept it or unhauled it, what format I read it in, the author, whether they were male, female, or both, the main character, whether the main character was male, female, or both, whether it was new to me, off my shelf, from a subscription box, from the library, an ARC, or on my Nook. And then whether or not I annotated it, because my goal was to annotate books, so I wanted to know how many I did and didn't, and then the publication year. So, stat-wise, I gave 8 DNFs, I gave 1 1-star, 17 2-star, 48 3-star, 62 4-star, and 37 5-star. I gave more 3 than 5, and 4 was my main rating. So again, that 3.7 from Goodreads is an accurate portrayal. Now this particular spreadsheet has me at 173 books because I did put my DNFs onto this one where I didn't put my DNFs on the other sheet. I don't make sense. I'm gonna do better in 2019, I promise. I read 5 sci-fi, 2 magical realism, 16 graphic novels, I read 2 nonfiction, 0 horror because I put them all in thriller because I don't know how to classify those, 5 anthologies, and I also counted anthologies as just short story bind-ups even if they were just from one author, 1 historical fiction, 29 romance, which counted as romance, erotica, all of the smexy time, 2 classics, 46 contemporary, and 51 fantasy. Obviously, fantasy and contemporary are my main ones, but 29 romance, not bad. I'm impressed by 7 thrillers. Also read entirely like spooky ones in the month of October, but one of them was an anthology. It was like a bind-up of scary stories, and that one went into anthologies as opposed to thrillers because I don't know how to categorize them as both on this spreadsheet. Some I had to just like make a decision and just put them somewhere, so that's why. Now, for my annotated, I annotated 73 books. I did not annotate 100. I'm really impressed. I'm really, really glad that I annotated that many. It was one of my goals to like make my library my own and to really annotate books, so I'm happy with that. I'm hoping to continue that in 2019. That is a goal of mine, so fingers crossed. Now, we're gonna get into age groups. This breaks down the age of the intended audience of the books that I read. So I only have middle grade, adult, young adult, and new adult. So 7 middle grade, 12 new adult, 54 adult, which is more than I thought I would probably read, and then 100 YA. I do read mainly YA. YA and NA is what I'm writing in, so it's mainly what I read in, but 54 adult is not bad. I'm happy with that. Hopefully I can, you know, broaden that a little bit more, but I'm also glad I read 7 middle grade. I'm not mad about that particularly. Here's where we get like huge disparities. It's in my character's gender and my author's gender. I read from 152 female authors, 3 books where it was both, where it was like a team, and then 18 male authors. And then male main characters, 27. So a couple of those females wrote male main characters. Otherwise, the numbers don't make sense. Female main characters 128 and an ensemble cast 2, which cannot be right because there's definitely more that I read where it had like multiple POVs and one was male, one was female. Like even Jeff Sentner had like Rain and Delilah's was multiple, and it was like, I think you got Lawson's POV too. Anyway, that one was flubbed up. I did not get that one correct. New to me authors, 77 new to me authors, which is phenomenal. 90 of them were known to me and 5 of them were debut, which I feel like I could do better about debut. But if they were debut, they were obviously new to me, so I did put them as like purely debut. But 5 debut, 77 new to me, and 90 known. About halvesies. And then I kept 115, I unhauled 12. Physically, I read 104 books. I read 30 ebooks. I read 39 audiobooks. I read 66 of them off of my shelf. I read 28 from the library, which is mainly audio. I had to have at least read 39 library books because if they were audio, they were from my library. I don't have any other way. So that's got to be wonky. 5 of them were from book boxes. Considering I got a lot of book boxes in 2018, I got Book of the Month for a while, I got a couple of the LitJoy crates, I have Owl Crate every month coming. I should have read more than 5. My goal for 2019 is to read more than that. 24 that I read on my Nook, which probably included library. Maybe I included some library ones in there, but I also get ebooks from my library and read them on my Nook. A lot of my ARCs were probably from on my Nook too. Anyway, and 27 ARCs, which again, I think might not be accurate. I feel like I might have read more than that. Again, I'm really, really shitty about keeping this kind of information. Then I want to look at the year it was published. So I read 6 2019 releases, which were just early ARCs. I read 43 2017 releases. And then I read 52 2018 releases. So 52 of my 173 books that I had on this spreadsheet, this particular one, 2018 releases. And then 2017, like immediately just having been released, 43. And then 6 for the future year. Sorry guys, my battery overheated just a smidge. So that is actually everything for my 2018 stats. I am going to be tracking a little bit of different things for 2019. I'm going to be really streamlining that, trying to get better about cataloging everything really clearly and appropriately. I will also be tracking whether or not it's an Own Voices book, whether it's a diverse book. There's a little bit more that I really want to dive into for 2019, but in general, that kind of a system works for me. I know how to input all of the information. I know how to change up the information that I want to change up. And while it doesn't give me pretty graphs or anything, I just feel like it's what works best for me right now. So I am going to stick with that one. I hope that you guys were interested. I'm going to just continue to read what makes me happy. Again, for 2019, I'm not really setting any goals in terms of my channel or myself. I want to just have fun. I want to enjoy it. I want to take it as it comes. And I'm setting my Goodreads goal at 100 books. I'm sure I will read more than that, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. Again, like the year before when I had read 230 some, I wanted to read less. I don't necessarily want to read less than 173 or whatever my final number was there, but I'm not looking to push it any further than that either. I'm very, very happy just being satisfied with the books that I'm reading. Hopefully I'm reading a lot of really great books. This year I read a lot of 3, 4, 5-star books, so that's good. I'm happy about that. Hopefully in 2019 I DNF a little bit less, and only giving out a couple of 1-star books is really, really good for me. I want to focus on writing a lot in 2019 and querying in 2019, so if reading takes a backseat, which it already has this year, to my writing sometimes, I'm okay with my numbers being smaller each month for wrap-ups, but as long as I'm enjoying the books that I'm reading, and so far 2019 has been all 4 and 5-star books, so I'm not mad about it. I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at my stats for 2018. I'm really excited to see where 2019 takes me, but that is it for this video. So if you liked it, be sure to give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't clicked subscribe already, you should do that now and click that little notification bell. Remember, social media links are always listed down below, as well as codes for things like Owl Crate and Book Depository. Anything that you want to do to support my channel will be much appreciated. And I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, guys.